Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining me today. My name is Brian Keith Allen. I'm an actor, stuntman, stunt coordinator, and an inspired screenwriter. I'm here to unfold and share with you some exciting news, particularly with the film industry in China and the collaboration of China and the USA. Give you a little background about me. I'm a former athlete, football player, professionally, and I also studied acting, a drama major in college, where I got a BA in theater arts. I love the arts, and I've been involved with the entertainment industry for 24 years professionally. I lived abroad, several countries around the world, such as Holland, France, Taiwan, and China. China. When you hear the word China, what does it do to you? When you say it, China, what does it do to you? Is it something powerful? Is it weak? When you say America, what does it do to you? Or when you hear America, is it something powerful? What does it do to you? Oh, home sweet home. Home sweet home. Now, America and China coming together, making films. I'm going to go over some certain numbers and policies and rules and regulations, censorships, relationships in terms of the film industry and the phenomenon that's happening in China. It behooves any filmmaker to climb aboard, so to speak. Get on this wave that's happening in China. You can profit and take advantage of the opportunities that are there. Now, I lived in Guangzhou, China. That's the southeast. It's the third largest city in China, behind Beijing and Shanghai. It's very warm there. It's 2 hours outside of Hong Kong and just under 2 hours from Macau. Guangzhou is a very industrial manufacturing location. It has a lot of the import and export for a long time. It's probably what you have on made from China. Maybe. Watch. Glasses. Made from China. China. Now, Guangzhou was a great experience for me. I've seen the growth, the changes, the economic, the culture that rising. It's rising in China. More millionaires are being developed there than ever before in China. Even though it's still a communist country. However, it has let down its guards or opened their hearts, so to speak, for foreign filmmakers to come in and collaborate. Now, there are some rules and regulations, as I mentioned. Censorship. Only just last year, there were 20 foreign films allowed into China. Just this year, it's changed to 34. And 14 of those movies either have to be IMAX and D3. But 34 are being allowed, foreign films. And the numbers of percentage for the what they call the quota system. It was 13 just last year. That number also went up to 25% of the revenue gross in the box office. Okay? Now, when you collaborate with China and China's productions companies, you have to have 1/3 of the crew, cast and crew. 1/3 has to be Chinese. The content of the film, majority of it has to be Chinese. China does very well with their own films, within their own land, soil, their own country. But there's some interesting topics, interesting notes, elements that I want to share with you that China and USA can combine. And these things are changing, evolving as we speak, as I speak. The audience all over the world love Hollywood movies. Why? Big budget movies, such as Hollywood films, high concept films, like very successful films, Avatar, Lord of the Rings. There are finance type of movies, such as Harry Potter, Lords of the Rings, Batman, Pirates of the Caribbean. Very successful films. And China is trying to simulate. But because of the censorship of their country, of their government, does not allow certain things to happen within their movie. They screen their movies. The movie Skyfall, James Bond movie, before it was open in China, several scenes were deleted. They don't want their people, nor their party, their government, to have anything to do with any negativity. So evidently, parts of that movie was taken out. I understand, Chinese prostitute or something like that, or any violent sex type things that are making them look bad. They don't like that. So this has been a problem for the filmmakers in China. They're trying to deal with that. Now, the Chinese films, especially the romantic comedies, have done very well in China. They like to personalize their characters up on the screen, simulating their of their culture. Whereas Hollywood serves a more global market service. So China's trying to, make films for China. And at the same time trying to reach globally, but unsuccessfully. China's learning to deal with their exception to the Western culture. Now, there are more Chinese students that go to America or abroad, and they're learning, they're adapting, and then watching the TV shows and films, and then they come back to China, and their modern technology has us we can download certain movies and TV shows. So the Western culture is seeping into the Chinese culture, and they're assimilating. The population is growing and changing, evolving. So this is a revolution, if you will, that's happening in China. China! Now, as I talked about the censorship, that's the biggest challenge and changes for the filmmakers there in China. Now, the collaboration with China and America, the co-production films. For an example, Iron Man 3. They've made a U.S. version and a Chinese version, and this has become more common there. Chinese filmmakers' biggest obstacle, as I mentioned to you, is their censorship. So they can make films about natural disasters, right? But not about their people, nor their party, their government. Now, going back in history a little bit, in 1989, the Chinese government tried to restore some things, some unfair problems that were happening at that time. And after they dealt with them and cleared that mess up, they started accepting and implementing America, Hollywood, in 1994 opened up The Fugitive, the movie called The Fugitive with starring Harrison Ford, which done very well, Warner Brothers. So America culture is seeping in and into the Chinese culture forever, so evermore. China, okay? Now, the quota, China has created a quota system, and these numbers with the quota system, as you collaborate, actually, first of all, your film coming into China, not collaborating with China, but coming into China, that those 34 films that are allowed, that percentage that you get, 13% has went up this past year to 25%. Okay? Now, to get around that quota system, once you collaborate, such as the Hong Kong film industry, the Hong Kong films, and the China film, they've been working together for a long time. In 2003, Hong Kong was not subject to the quota system. They've made a lot of movies together. Matter of fact, since 2003, 10 of the top movies in China, 5 of them were the Hong Kong movies. Okay? Now, to get around that quota system, once you collaborate, a foreign movie production comes to collaborate with China, that quota system it's not, you'll be not under subjection to that. Okay, so the percentage from there goes to about 43% as opposed to 25. So it's better to collaborate. But you're going to have to deal with the censorship. And not only that, you have to have, when you're shooting and producing a film in China soil, 1/3 of your cast and crew has to be Chinese. The content has to be Chinese oriented. At least most of it. Some of the language. Some of it. Okay? So just keep those things in mind. Now, the 34 films I mentioned, 14 of them has to be, IMAX and 3D. Okay? I went over that, just reiterating that. Now, the way to get around that quota I told you is collaborating. And that's what we're talking about here, collaborating with the Chinese productions. Now, I mentioned about Iron Man 3. It's becoming more common that certain version for the Chinese and version for the international market. Okay? Now, there's different goals here, different desires. Now, Chinese have a certain quote, which goes by, it goes like this, Tong Chong Yi Mong, which means same bed, different dreams. And this is what it's like dealing with these particular issues. The film industry, collaboration. Now, the different desires and goals for China visit Hollywood. Hollywood wants the access. It wants access to the Chinese market. Okay? And it's huge. You're talking about 1.7 billion people, folks, as opposed to 370 million here in the United States. China, it's huge. Okay, so China wants what? Access to the international market. So it's soft, the soft power, they developed this soft power, so to speak, and they want to co-produce and reflect China's culture and build their Chinese stars for international market. It's not going to happen. Not anytime soon at all. Now there's certain movies that done very well that were supposed to be like Chinese, quote, Chinese movies. In 2009, there was Mummy 3, 42% of all Chinese revenue. But there wasn't really, co-production. Not really. 2010, Karate Kid, Will Smith kid. 68% of all Chinese revenue went overseas with that for a Chinese film. Now, last year, 2012, the Chinese has the most successful in their films. 60%. That's a huge increase. 60%. Chinese have done very well on their own soil. 80% of their local market in China. But they only do movies for themselves, but not international. But they want to reach that international, but they have to understand the market, the international market. You have to open it up, get the restraints off the filmmakers. China? These are the arts. You have to have an openness with the arts. Be creative. You can't have these restraints. You're suppressing the people, the artists, the actors, the filmmakers. There's parameters. It's just too much. It has to change. Eventually it will change. And it is changing. And that's why we're talking about it. That's why we're there. It's actually working. It's happening. So stay tuned. There will be more. And I will be going over there to China soon. And I'm working on a film called Back Out. It's a suspenseful thriller. It's about two federal inmates bound in faith. But when set free, all hell breaks loose. Look for it. I'll see you soon. I love you. God bless. This again, Brian Keith Allen. Bye.